Hi, everyone. Welcome to Resonate with the Reconnected. This is Eleanor and Emma. And today we're talking about the nervous system and the intuition. This is a potent conversation that we had in the Reconnected app recently, and it was so powerful that we just had to share it more widely.
Hey everyone, it's Emma. So many of us have learned to override our gut feelings, to second guess ourselves, to push through when our body is saying stop, or hold back when something inside us is saying go. So, today we're exploring how to reconnect with that inner wisdom, how to distinguish between intuition and fear, and how a regulated nervous system becomes the foundation for trusting yourself again.
So, I would love to know when you come to a conversation about intuition and the nervous system, what are you expecting? What are you expecting to hear? What are you hoping to take away? What needs to happen in this conversation to know that it was useful to you? I would just love to hear from you about what's on your mind when you dive into this topic of intuition and the nervous system. And while you're answering, maybe I'll give a little bit of an overview of the nervous system as a whole. So, your nervous system is your perception system. It keeps you safe and it helps you to filter and organize everything that's happening around you and deciding and perceiving whether it's safe or not safe. It's constantly working in the background of your awareness. It's automatic. And um, it's working all the time just to keep your body in balance with your environment. And as an example, um, have you ever noticed how when it gets really hot outside, your body just naturally starts to sweat? So you don't think, oh, it's hot, I better sweat. I'll do that intentionally. No, it's just all automatic, right? Automatic without thinking about it, keeping you in balance with your environment. But your nervous system is also linked to the quality of your thoughts, your emotions, how connected you feel to other people. And so all of those things happen below your conscious choice and conscious awareness also. Have you noticed that? So our nervous system is broken up into two different branches, which I feel like most people have heard by now, 2025. But even 5 years ago, parents weren't that
2026.
savvy on this information. Oh, 2020, in 2020, this was actually new information for most parents. Not everyone who we spoke to, we've been teaching the nervous system reset, for example, for I think we just discovered since 2022. And, it wasn't long before that that not many people really knew about the nervous system. So it's broken into two branches, parasympathetic and sympathetic. Who's heard those terms? Parasympathetic, sympathetic. And this is the most simplistic possible way of describing the nervous system. But your sympathetic nervous system responds to the world around you by going into fight or flight so that it can protect you. And then when that threat goes away, your parasympathetic nervous system takes a deep breath and regulates you back down to feeling safe and connected to everything that's happening around you. That's the most simplistic. There's other things that happen as well. But if we just think about that for now, it's enough. Um, I feel like keeping on going, Emma. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So often when we think about our nervous system, we think about being dysregulated, and that dysregulation is bad. But actually, if we didn't get dysregulated, what we would miss out on is we would miss out on being able to keep ourselves safe and stay in balance with the world around us, right?
Yeah.
So what's more accurate is we need to be able to go into states of activation. And what's important is that we ground down afterwards. And let's pause there for a moment and read some of these shares. And then we're going to make a very, very, very important point about grounding down. Okay.
So
So, what
Leonie's
is
saying
everyone saying in this chat?
trusting and deciphering body sensations.
Mhm.
Kasha says to learn to discern the many voices that she hears.
Mhm.
Zania, to understand the difference between intuition as my best interest and reaction as a stress response.
Mhm.
Joe would like to feel uplifted by the conversation, validated and reassured.
Aw.
Kim wants more clarity and less overthinking. There's lots of
Mhm.
clarity and peace, learning to trust my gut intuition, intuition that I can feel in the body, how to be clear on what's
Yep.
coming up for me with true intuition and what isn't. Being
Yes.
confident to
Amazing.
follow my intuition without the self-doubt.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a real
Amazing.
theme of knowing my intuition versus second guessing or the doubt. Yeah.
Amazing. Isn't this awesome? There's 156 people on the call. We're pouring in. So if you're only just arriving, we're sharing what the intuition means to us. And we've just had a very, very quick conversation about what the intuition is, how the nervous system works. But some people here are completely new, and perhaps it would be good for us to introduce ourselves. Do you want to go?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm Emma. I am the co-founder of The Reconnected alongside Eleanor. I'm a mother of 5. I have an 11-year-old, 9-year-old, 8-year-old, and 3-year-old twins. I have been studying and been a practitioner of breathwork for 10 years now. And at The Reconnected, we've worked with over 200,000 people, 200,000 families who have come to this work and had huge transformation. Breathwork is an absolute love of mine. It is something that I personally use as my own modality and tool to thrive with my kids traveling the world. We are homeschoolers. And yeah, it's such an honor to be able to teach this wisdom to other parents and seeing them thrive in their lives as well.
Yes, 100%. Well, if we haven't met before, I'm Eleanor, and I'm the other. When Emma says she's the co-founder, I'm the other co-founder of The Reconnected. Actually, we're also the authors of
Cool.
this amazing book, Reconnected Parenting,
I've got
Healing
to
the Whole
get better at
Family Nervous System. I know, I just had it there and I was like, oh my, I know what I'm going to do.
I know.
I'm doing it through regulation, breathwork, and play therapy. How fun. The release is due with Hay House. But actually, where my journey of understanding the nervous system started was just back when my kids were really little. And my kids are now aged 17 to 25. I've got 5 kids. My eldest is my stepdaughter, and then 4 of my own bio kids who are 2 years apart. So life was very busy, and I found myself feeling incredibly triggered. But what I discovered about myself is that I could use my breath, um, rather than trying to practice change in the moment when I'm stressed. I've discovered that I could use my breath to tap into the experiences that I was still carrying and holding, and let go of them in a really gentle way, so that um, those stressful moments could just become transformed. And I saw, I'm sorry, I didn't catch the name. I saw maybe Maria say, "Oh, here, I feel like I have to ground down after every workday, and I'd love to be regulated enough to not need it in this way." And the style of breathwork we teach is a bit like um, something that you it's a bit like having the opposite of a credit card. It's a bit like putting money in the bank, but it's like your
Yeah.
regulation bank. And it just means that you get to moments that used to be stressful and they feel differently to you. So you just do have the internal space to do it differently. And we're all about parents just creating this space for themselves, because it supports kids to grow up within spacious nervous systems, which is just so profound. So once I discovered breathwork for myself, I went on to study breathwork, but also counseling, psychology. I worked for years in community services as a counselor of families, children. I went on to study play therapy, discovered how our breath and play were so powerful together. And here we are, so many years later. Just, it's incredible. It's incredible to see just how many people are benefiting from breathwork in 2026. It's phenomenal. It's spreading
Yeah.
throughout the world, all different styles. But if you're new here, you do not assume you know what we're about to teach you, because our style of breathwork is pretty unique.
Yeah.
Um, so let's go back to this question, if of the nervous system and how the nervous system functions. If it's not about not getting dysregulated, if that's not the goal, then what would the goal around optimal nervous system regulation be? And there's a lot of OGs here who already know the answer. So I'm thinking, let's give a little bit of space, OGs, and just see if some others want to come forward to the front and have a little guess. It's a safe space to learn, safe space to put, put questions out there. And I might even use some of the pictures from the book for this.
I think we're going to have people hiding in the chat.
You can do it. Let's see. The OGs, you're being so polite and so.
Roseanne's got her little mouth zipped.
I want to say it can really take some time before you feel comfortable sharing. And I'm in this space, and I'm really glad we have Varushka, who's one of the Reconnected coaches here today, because she'll tell the story that of how she arrived in the nervous system reset and didn't say a word for, I don't know, was it a year, Varushka, maybe, until you started sharing and connecting?
Do you want to ask the question again, Eleanor?
Yep. Okay, so our nervous system keeps us safe. And to do that, we go into states of dysregulation. We go into flight and fight. And then when the threat has passed, we ground down afterwards. Our parasympathetic kicks in, and we, like, we feel differently. Our heart rate slows back down, our breathing slows down, we feel calmer in our body, we're connected to everyone again. We all know what it's like to get really angry and then feel like it's past, so it's the grounding down moment. And so it's easy to think, oh, okay, nervous system regulation, I need to stop getting dysregulated. That's the answer. I just need to stay regulated. I just need to stay calm. And most parents arrive here honestly thinking that Emma and I are going to teach them how to stay calm all the time when you're
Mm,
stressed, especially. But that would be coming from this idea that functional, like that dysregulation is bad and that it's dysfunctional to become dysregulated. But actually, it's important. Um, what matters the most is grounding down after.
mm,
But there's something that happens that gets in the way. And so the real issue with our nervous system is that we don't ground back down.
mm,
The issue isn't that we get dysregulated. That's usually really functional in keeping us safe, generally speaking. Even when it's out of context, there's a perception that we're keeping ourselves safe. But the issue is that we don't ground down back to ventral vagal.
mm.
Do you guys get that? I've got some of
Yeah.
the pictures in the from the book actually. So yeah, I don't know. Can you see that?
Yep.
There's little peaks, and then we ground back down, and then we get triggered, and then we ground back down, then something else happens, we ground back down. That's ideal, right? It's kind of how our nervous system works. Yeah. But something else usually happens in modern life. You see this?
Yeah. A habitual baseline.
So what does habitual baseline mean? Because we haven't said baseline. You want to share?
Yeah. So our habitual baseline is how we act when we are in, or how we respond to life when we're in those rested spaces. So maybe when you clock off from work, for example, that Maria shared, or you sit down on the couch after you've had a full day with your kids. What is your habitual baseline when at rest?
Yeah. So it's when we ground down, we come back to our baseline.
Mm,
And for most people, well, ideally, your baseline would be ventral vagal, would be this beautiful state where we feel connected to ourselves, alert, awake, rested, light, energized. We
creative.
feel relaxed within ourselves, but we're not collapsed. We haven't given up. And we're not in overwhelm or burnout. We feel ourselves. And most of us actually don't return to um, ventral vagal. Our baseline is not reconnected, it's not in this connected space.
Yeah. And
What
usually
happens is,
well, it's stored stress from our previous life experience, from anywhere from birth all the way up until the age that you are. If you have had stressful situations, which all of us have, but you haven't had the opportunity to integrate and ground back down,
ground down.
then that
Yeah.
stress continues to store. And you might get this from, like, I often share the story of My kids, one day I realized something is that I couldn't tolerate loud sounds. And my kids would be playing and they were having the best time of their lives. And I couldn't tolerate it. My nervous system would go, I would get tense. I would feel this rush of heat. I needed to shut it down. And then one day I really listened and I was like, they're just having fun. My stress and my reaction to their sound is so out of context to what is actually playing out there. And I was curious, and in my breathwork session I realized that I lived in a really quiet house and my parents had no tolerance for sound or like chaotic activity was shut down. And so my
Mm.
kids would trigger that sense in me when they were playing. And it was so out of context because really, I actually delight that they're having so much fun and they're enjoying themselves. But my stress and my reaction was fully out of context. And it was that habitual stress that I had stored within my nervous system that told my body, like, that sound means danger, shut it down.
Mm. Yeah, so
Yeah.
at a time where you technically should be in ventral vagal, everyone's happy.
Yeah.
Instead of being at a ventral vagal baseline, Emma's system was in fight or flight, like activated. Do you
Mm,
guys getting this concept of why returning to baseline is so important?
mm,
Um, and so um, one of the ways that we help parents to organize their understanding of like what is their go-to reaction is we think about what you what your go-to stress response is, and then just seeing if it's happening more often than not, and whether your baseline is actually pretty stressed. And some parents come to the reconnected not ever really having a reference point for ventral vagal, which is incredible, but the
yeah.
reality. So we're going to recap the stress archetypes and see if you
Yeah.
can um, recognize yourself. And those of you who've done it 6 million times, um, figure out and listen to it fresh, like it's the first time you're hearing it,
Mm,
and tune in, like, where am I at now? Because our nervous system is always in this state of flux.
yeah. So let's start with the yeller. So
Yep.
I was definitely the yeller in the situation with my kids when they were being loud. Yeah. So you hold it together until you snap. And it's like you go from 0 to 100. The frustration builds and then it explodes. Lots of parents put their hand up and say that they're the yeller. And then we have the hustler. So they are the archetype where you just can't stop doing things. You're always busy. And then you collapse at the end of the day, but you can't switch off. So you might just be constantly scrolling your phone or you're stuck on and wired. Usually you find it hard to like fully let go at bedtime.
So
Then
relatable.
we,
And the hustler and the yeller, they sit pretty close together, don't they? They're so
yeah.
relatable together, those two.
And then we have the pleaser, which is when you say yes when you mean a no. So everybody comes first before you. You've actually lost track of what you want and need. Yeah. Who relates to the pleaser? Overextending yourself. And
Apologizing, saying
yeah,
sorry,
apologize.
that's a big pleaser.
Yeah. Avoider. So this archetype, they're stuck and numb. They don't know what's happening. I don't know. I feel like they don't have the direction. Watching life happen but not really in it. They can't seem to
Mm.
move.
Where do you get stuck? So when you have those days, weeks, maybe even months, where you aren't grounding down and you're not feeling like you are yourself, when you have a habitual baseline that's high in stress, where are you stuck? Which of those archetypes do you tend to get stuck in?
I love this from Leonie. She says, I'm 100% the hustler. Even today, my dad was visiting, and the best I could do was catch up with him whilst cleaning the kitchen and preparing snacks and drinks. Yes.
Well done,
Thanks for your
Leonie.
authenticity, Leonie. Nina says the pleaser is fading away as I entered perimenopause. I love that.
Yeah, interesting how how our hormonal state interacts with our nervous system. Yeah.
Yeah. Gemma's the yellow.
Mm.
Maria, if you've been ruminating and over-analyzing, is that the hustler? What are you doing when you're in that state? Are you collapsed or are you doing things?
She's really like a bit of an avoidee. It's more
Yeah.
avoidee, I think. Have you guys noticed how you bounce between two often? So
Hmm.
a yeller is often an avoider. Like first reaction, yell, then shame spiral, crash
Yeah.
burn. Um, People pleaser can be similar, but it can be override yourself and then explode at a different time. So, um, pleaser, yeller in a different context. By the way, if you're new here, usually at the beginning of our call, we make it very clear that this is a full on judgment free zone. Like, we're
Seriously.
all about just first step is we just have to be real with ourselves about how we're reacting. And you might not know this, but did you know that the one of the most powerful things for a secure and healthy relationship between a parent and a child is having a parent that asks themselves the question,
Question.
why do I
Yeah.
do what I do? Why do I respond the way I respond? So that's what we're doing. So there's no judgment here, especially when we're doing exactly what our kids need, which is to be self-reflective.
Yeah. Atlas fully called me out on the avoider pattern actually yesterday.
Mm.
Because I think I would always have been an avoider. Like my go-to when I need to recalibrate the energy would be to like leave. And he would jump on my bandwagon and leave. But I've had a broken leg, so I haven't been able to go anywhere. And he
Oh,
said,
damn.
Mom, we haven't even been able to leave the place when like things are tough. And I was like, yeah, it's
Mm.
rough, isn't it? Like we're fully in it. Like we got to be stuck in this moment. Yeah.
There's internal retreating, but that's it. Okay, so where does the intuition come in? Let's think about this, right? Um, isn't it interesting how when you're activated and in a stress archetype, you're often feeling disconnected from your intuition, right?
Yeah.
Have you guys noticed that? Um, One of the things that happens when you start doing breath work is you do naturally come more into a ventral vagal baseline. So your go-to, the place where you spend the most time is ventral vagal, and a natural outcome is people will spontaneously share that they feel more authentic as a natural byproduct of doing lots of breath work. You naturally feel um,
Well, they feel
flow,
grounded. Yeah, they feel
synchrony,
present.
in touch with yourself. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's they go along with each other, right? Except here's this sneaky little myth again. Um, who, when you think about being intuitive, has this association with the intuition where it's a bit close to, oh, I'll be calm all the time,
Mm,
like a intuitive version of calm all the time. Like
yeah.
I'll just always have a quiet inner voice. I'll just always have this gentle gut feel. I'll just get it right every time, you know?
Yeah. I noticed like the most common one is like if I'm intuitive, like I'll have no doubt. I'll be
Yeah, I'll
completely
feel
like,
completely confident. I'll
yeah,
always feel completely certain.
yeah,
Um, one of the things that we do as parents that's just sets us up to fail every time is we have these unrealistic ideas that are based in perfectionism and suppression, basically,
yeah.
where we're just going to push everything away and we're going to get perfect and then it's all going to be fine, but
Everything will
it's
be
not
easy.
realistic to how our nervous system works. So, we want to plant some seeds tonight about what a integrated, intuitive prompt can feel like from the different archetypes, because it's not about being calm
Mm, yeah.
and it's not about being regulated all the time.
So if you put your hand up to be the yeller, think about this. When your intuition is clear, the fire is still there, but now it's focused. You feel strong. You have a clearer knowing about what's right and what's not, and the boundaries become a lot easier. You advocate for yourself and for your kids without the rage. You feel grounded in it. You feel grounded in the really big energy. Your
Yeah, it's
intuition
power.
feels it's like power, yeah. Your intuition feels like clarity and certainty. I know what needs to happen here. I used to explode and then feel terrible. Now I feel the boundary before the anger, and I can say what I need without losing myself.
Really interesting thing about anger is there's always an unmet need there. And when it's integrated and when we can intuit, and when we're intuitive and we've got this like expanded capacity, then we experience our power around meeting our own needs.
Mm,
And it's a completely different experience of the fight response that's very, very healthy, and it's not um, layered with all of the difficulty that we've experienced around anger, like being out of control, unsafe,
yeah.
all of these other
Feel
feelings that
strong and powerful and
trauma.
listened to without losing
Mm.
it. All right, so the
And
hustler. So when clear, you can finally pause. And then within that pause, you hear things. So instead of being stuck in the doing, you receive. You notice what's actually needed and not just what's left on the list. Ideas come and solutions land. So your intuition feels like spaciousness and receiving. You
I
might
might
say to
tell a
yourself,
story on this one,
oh,
actually. Yeah,
that's what this needs. Yeah.
yeah. I definitely relate to the hustler at the moment. It's probably my biggest stress archetype at this time. And um, one of the ways that I've observed it becoming like a superpower is when I can notice that I'm getting stuck on, that I'm going into one of those places where I'm going to get stuck. And I can just take this subtle internal step back and my absolute miracle moments are when I will say to myself, rather than pushing to complete something, I can feel the moment when I know, oh, if I step back, this project can breathe and something better's going to come in. And it always saves me heaps of time. And that space always brings that project like ease and a whole new level of creativity when it's like I have a break between me and the thing that I'm working on, rather than getting full on stuck in hustler. Do you know the feeling of when you've gone past a project and you're no longer saving time by trying to get it done? You are just stuck on. You are just
Yeah.
literally stuck on.
Mm.
So it exists with everything, like dishes. It's like right place, there's a right time, sorry, for everything. And that includes that not everything needs to get done right now. Radical. And it's a radical thought for our nervous system.
Yeah. The pleaser. So when clear, your own voice gets loud. And it's not aggressive, but it's just clear. You now know what you want and you know what you need, and you stop asking everyone else what they think. The guilt about saying no fades. Intuition feels like your own voice is audible now. I actually know what I want. I stopped asking for permission. I stopped apologizing for my needs. My yes means yes now. My no means no. Who gets, Goda says, chills down my neckle hearing this. I don't know what your neckle is, but I like it.
Neck. The biggest deal for someone who gets stuck in people pleasing is noticing a moment where they would normally be more aware of others, and suddenly not only being more aware of their own experience, but more committed to their own experience. Yeah. And it's like, oh my gosh, liberating, exciting moment where you can feel your own energy.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So the avoider. And this is when you're clear, you can finally name what's happening. The fog of I don't know lifts, and you can identify what you're feeling and what you need and what the next step is. And from that clarity, momentum comes. Intuition feels like knowing and naming, oh, this is what's going on, and this is what I need to do. And the avoider is definitely my strongest archetype, and one that really came up recently in October when I broke my leg. And it makes me laugh because, when I went back to the surgeon and I had all these stitches, I had surgery, and I don't like anything physical. Like, I fully wanted to disassociate about anything to do with it. And the surgeon grabbed my leg and he was like, do you want to see, are you going to look at your leg? Like how many stitches you got in your leg? And I was like, nah, I don't want to know anything about it. Like I did not look. And he had said to me that if I didn't do any of the physical exercise within 2 weeks of getting home from the surgery, that I could be permanently, have permanent issues. And I just had the full, I don't know. I just was like, I don't know. Like I've never experienced this before. I've never broken a bone. I've never had surgery like this. I don't know what to expect. But I went straight into breath work. I did a lot of breath work when I was laying in that bed, and I got full clarity around my next steps, and they didn't look exactly like what the surgeon had said, but they were really intuitive. And to me, and I'll never forget, Ryan came in one day and out of nowhere, I had unwrapped my leg to look at the scar and the thing. And he came in and he's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you did that. I'm so proud of you." And I was like, I just felt this energy where I was like, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do it now. And I did it. It was brutal, but yeah, I was fully in the avoider.
Except also integrating the avoider.
I was integrating the avoider so much, and I was really aware of where the avoider made me doubt my intuition, because it felt like I was avoiding the situation, but I was getting clarity around, no,
Yeah.
this is actually what I feel. Like, it's not,
So,
I'm not avoiding it. I'm
yeah.
unclear about where my intuitive next move is. And then my breath gave me so many insights to what was happening. And so the clarity became a lot better. And I took moves that accelerated my timeline.
Okay, let
Yeah.
me tell you guys how Emma was able to do that. So when we are reactive, that's the stress archetype, that's the avoider. We have no choice. We just respond. It's like sweating. We're just as instantly as sweating when it gets hot. There's an issue, you're avoiding. Like it's not something you think of doing. It's just what happens, and that happens for all of us. Yeller, avoider, pleaser, hustler. We just go there. We might not even notice that we're doing it at first. We just find ourselves doing it. Or then we get to a stage where we notice that it's happening, but we really can't do anything about it, right? And then we get to a different place where we start to have moments where we have the same response, but we notice, oh, I'm doing it differently. And then we have lots of moments where we just might even think, I'm just not an avoider anymore. Look at me. I'm like looking at my bandages. I'm like doing all these things.
Yeah.
I'm not avoiding this. And then like much further down the track, we forget that we ever were an avoider. But here's the thing. This is like, if you've been here for a while, I don't feel like we've said this very many times. So do like really listen to this. Your reactive pattern isn't different from your choice, apart from that you're free to do it either way. So it's not necessarily that you would stop avoiding, but you are not avoiding like you're sweating. You're not just avoiding and you're not even aware you're avoiding, or even avoiding, but you can't not avoid. You're free to often has these parts of it. So that's where yellow becomes power, because you still have that fight response, but you're free to choose it. You could let it go, but you can also step into it and feel it. So same with, you can avoid, but you can go cautiously, go slowly, go, at your own pace. Are you guys understanding this piece? It's not about extinguishing your stress response.
Yeah, it's not
It's
about being
not
like the
about
ultimate.
having,
Yeah.
it's about being free to. So it feels really different in your body, and it feels really different in your space, your energy. And for me, the most probably standout moment of this was when my kids were little. I was really in the yeller if I got stressed. And once they hit the teenage years, had a different relationship to it. And I'd been doing breath work for quite some time at that point. And my anger in situations, it just became over time more and more contextual, like more and more, oh, this makes sense. Like, I should be angry right now. This is really important. And also, it just got more and more safe. It wasn't that I stopped having that fight, but the fight became like now my true relationship with the fight with my kids, where I feel angry, is I know we're getting closer. I know that
Yeah.
we are getting more and more connected, more and more close, and that it's actually my chance to like repair something from another time. And it's very like safe and powerful, and it feels really good. And I don't have real arguments with anyone where it's like, oh, far out.
Yeah,
I
that
just
was like
absolutely
the
fucked that, you know,
yeah.
which is where it was when I was younger, when my kids were younger, and when I hadn't done this work, and when my nervous system was just in a habitual reactive state. So,
Yeah.
you know, this is really key. This it's mastery. It's the natural outcome of doing breath work. But it's also, you know, we just have this idea that we are going to become these calm, perfect something. We've got this
Yeah.
idea in our mind about who we're going to be when we're healed or integrated or regulated or whatever it is. And it we're always just going to be more us, but
Do you
it's
know?
just we're going to feel even better about it, you know, it's free
Yeah.
within that.
I think like I felt so empowered in that moment where I was like actively just being the avoider because I was in a really sterile environment. It was all aluminium and I'm such a sensory person. And I was like, the last thing I want to do is like acknowledge what's going on with my seriously intense wound. And so I did avoid it, but I laughed and I did have a good chuckle with the surgeon because he just thought I was a little bit nuts and I was fully okay to be with the discomfort of that. And it was when I was in my bed in my ideal, optimal situation that I was able to engage with looking at my leg in a way. And so I was just curious, like about, I was like, yeah, that is a pattern that I have been in, but I feel really empowered in my intuition and the next steps
Yeah.
that I've had to take this whole journey.
Yes. Okay. So tell us all your ahas. I know by now this much gold, all this incredible information. I know everyone here will have had a perspective shift on a situation in your life. Share in the chat where's your ahas happening, and then Emma and I would love to tell you about the 5-day regulate your body, trust your intuition,
Yeah.
um, that is coming up starting on the 21st of January.
Yeah.
So just under a week now. We want to tell you
We
all
want
about
to
it.
Yeah, I'll wait for everyone to pop in the chat. So, the 5-day intuition edition, if you've joined the 5 days before, this is actually going to be all new content. So, we're going to be doing it differently. And we're really excited about what we're going to be sharing with you all. It's going to be not just about feeling calmer, it's going to be about hearing yourself clearly in your way through your unique nervous system. And we are very excited to see so many newbies there, but then also so many of you who are in our community and have been before. I love what
Mm,
Cass is sharing. I'm so aware that I'm noticing when I'm in the avoiding. It's like a little flash, like what's happening
mm.
now? What do I choose?
I'd love to
Mm.
tell you a little bit about the biggest thing between us and our intuition. And the the top the top number one thing that gets in the way of us and our intuition is simply being in touch with ourselves, is
Mm.
being able to feel what's happening for us and having the opportunity to reflect. So, the first step of becoming more intuitive, and the reason why breathwork is so powerful at supporting us to be more intuitive. And by intuitive, I mean that knowing how to respond, having that free to respond, being in that positive side of the archetype. Um, fully harnessing, like, and staying with ourselves as we ride all of these waves. But to the point where, when we are feeling really in touch, we have moments where we just feel like we arrive, and there's synchrony, and there's a bit of sprinkle of magic around a moment. It's those feelings where we feel so connected to ourselves and so affirmed by life. And I want to call it a glimmer, but I don't mean a glimmer in the sense that most maybe nervous system um, teachers would speak to it.
Mm.
Not like a glimmer of regulation, like a glimmer of the bigger picture happening for us in a very regular moment.
Yeah.
Do you know that feeling? Like, oh, wow, it's happening. Oh, wow, isn't this magic? Wow, everything feels slowed down and special right now. Um, that true in touch with moment. Um, so at the 5 day, we're going to be teaching you a different angle of the nervous system that we haven't really honed in on before. We're going to be talking a lot about the vagal nerve and why the breath is such a powerful doorway into our autonomic nervous system. In fact, it's the only conscious part of the autonomic nervous system that is both
Mm.
automatic and we don't have to think about it, plus it's conscious. So we're going to teach you about the nervous system. That's going to be really fun. But then we're going to practice. And if you've been in the reconnected world for a short while or a long while, and if you have never had a chance to actually take these ahas and bring them into your body, this is just the time to do it.
Yeah, it's the time, and where the world is at the moment, and all the chaos and the noise and it's a lot. And if there is a community of parents and people who are in touch with their yes and their no in a profound way, this is what we can give our children, is the benefit of moving through life intuitively and feeling connected to ourselves and feeling integrated with our stress response. I love how Ilani's saying, I love how my stress response archetype can be transformed and integrated, becoming a source of strength. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many things that get in the way of our intuition. And here's one that's probably the biggest. The idea that we're triggered. So, triggers and like having our stuff from the past being activated in the present moment is definitely something that gets in the way of us hearing what's happening for us. Like
Mm.
Emma's story around the noise is a perfect example of that, where it's something from the past is getting in the way of what's happening now in the moment, right? But it's not the full picture, because sometimes our nervous system is giving us a really accurate pick up of what's happening for the people around us, and especially our kids. We're so connected to our children, and our nervous system doesn't just get triggered by them. It also is sensing into what they might need. So this idea that we're triggered can sometimes be something that means we're pushing away our intuitive feelings. Have you ever had a thought like, oh, I'm really worried about my kids on this particular thing? Oh no, I'm just worrying, and then pushing it away and then finding out, oh no, hang on. That was actually something to listen to. So being able to discern what's our stuff and what's an accurate pickup is really powerful outcome of doing this, doing breath work, learning more about your intuition, learning more about how the yeah, just coming and actually doing the work and practicing. So this is an amazing week as well, because not only are Emma and I teaching for an hour each day, but you also have access to our incredible coaches. Our whole team of coaches are in the 5 days supporting everyone. Plus, we have a handbook. Is that with this? Yes, we have a hand. No,
No, I don't
that's some.
think so. No.
Okay,
Yeah.
little rewind. I just feel like, oh no, you know what I'm thinking of is, plus we're doing the giveaways. I knew
We're
there
doing
was
the
a
giveaways.
third thing.
Yes. We're giving away nervous system readers. What are they called now? The
We're doing the
ultra
ultra
human ring.
human rings this time,
Yeah.
and a glam swag and a orbit the label outfit, which is just super cute.
Yeah.
Every year we give away, I think, about $5,000 worth of gear at the nervous system resets. It's just a lot
Yeah.
of fun. Like, we did one giveaway and then we got obsessed, and now we do them like
Now we do them all the
everywhere.
time.
But
Yeah.
this year the nervous system reset is $17, and I just want to say, don't be put off by how low that price is. That price is by no means a reflection of the value that's in this, and actually equivalent size programs usually are about $1,000 at the Reconnected. This is an opportunity to get a taste of the breath work, to come into this practice space, to do the work, to get to know Emma and I and the coaches. And paying even a nominal amount, it does a funny thing to your mindset. And if you have watched the nervous system reset go past you year after year after year after year, because we know that there are thousands of people who've signed up for a nervous system reset and have never actually thrown their hat into the ring and laid
Yeah.
down and tried the breathwork sessions. And we know that if you pay even a nominal amount, you are about 600 times more likely to actually show up and do the
Show up and do it.
program.
Yeah.
So this is a opportunity for you to commit to the change that you signed up for free in the past. A lot of our programs are free, and actually get something out of it this time if you haven't actually shown up. So we are like really digging deep for this reset, in terms of, we really want to see everyone who's at some point had this idea, I want to change, or felt drawn to or connected to this work in some way. Because what I've found for myself and what I've seen for the thousands of people who've been through the programs and actually engaged with the content in a meaningful way is that it's actually inevitable that your life begin to change. And we're really feeling called at the Reconnected to create an even bigger ripple of regulated nervous systems out there in the world. We're especially concerned about the level of stress that kids are growing up with in today's world, because parents are carrying more, like, an unprecedented level of stress. And so if you know someone who might benefit from this work, please do share it with them. But if you have been here on the fence for a while, really just take some time to reflect about what it is that keeps you coming back and tapping in and staying connected, and consider that it's time to take another step towards this freedom to choose who you are in the moment. So we're really hoping to see a whole lot of people at the Nervous System Reset. There always are. But 2026, it feels like the year that would be amazing to see everyone showing up for the briefs this year.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been so nice to see new faces here and also our community. I love that you always show up. I'm so glad to see you got so much out of it. On the replay, please share your takeaways. Yeah. And thank you so much. And oh yeah, you go.
I just want to share a little chat that's happening between Catherine and Nazia in the chat. Catherine saying, isn't it crazy how much your life changes when you have this in your work? And Xenia saying, just want to say that if you're drawn here, there is nothing like it. Yeah. Stella,
I love
it's
what
nice
Catherine
to see you
shared.
comment.
She said, Catherine said, I'm so grateful for my past self signing up and fully showing up for this program. Forever changed my life for the better.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been amazing to see your journey, Catherine, 100%.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for those catching the replay too. Please put your comment in the chat, and we'll see you for the 5-day 2026 reset. Thank you, everyone. Bye.